Hey everybody, this is Felicia with The Book is Done. I am coming to you live. But I wanted to come and talk about two books that I've read. I've read so many, but when I do the reviews, I like to have the physical book in my hand. Kindle is cool, and I still will utilize Kindle. However, something about the physical book. Um, I read these two literally on a flight last week. I was headed out of town for my birthday because it was last Thursday. And so, in the midst of this four, 4.5 hour flight, I feel like it was shorter then, but 4.5 flight, I read two books and started a third one. So, the first of the two books that I read is by indie author Don Jones, and it's called With Every Breath. This book this book was heavy. It was heavy. Heavy. It was heavy. A lot of domestic violence. The majority, I was I would say 99% of this book was domestic violence. And it could be a huge trigger for some, and it was some underlining tones going on with the rest of the book, but basically it's coming from the main character's point of view. Her name is Ingrid. And if you don't catch that, like in the beginning of the book, you will not know her name. It's either baby or babe or whatever the case may be. Same thing with her boyfriend. You will not know their name. And when I say you will not know their name, it will probably be like, I think it's the end of the first chapter. Yeah. And it's not to say that that's something that you should remember, but or that they have to say their names throughout the book, but it was just, I don't know, when you read this book, it just takes you, it's like you forget who the name, who's what. So I don't know why I want to call this character Dawn, probably the author, but Ingrid is the main character, and she starts off saying that she loved this man, and I don't know if like this book is like a journal, because it's like she starts off the book saying that I love this man and I knew that he would do everything for me, only to find out that he wouldn't. Or it was like she would start the sentence off and then it would end in past tense, well, that was what happened, or something of that nature, where it was just like, so where is he? Like, what's happening? What happened? And so she meets this guy. This is based on I forgot which country. I think it's not Scotland. I think it's like the UK. But is somewhere in Europe. And this woman, she is at the bar or the pub, and she meets this man, and he's like, I want to say he's like 10 years her senior. No. He's only a few years her senior, and he was flirting. They were flirting, and she was just like, okay, the feelings between us are electric, and they're attracted to each other. Bar stuff. So, they start to get to know each other, small talk through the bar, and it was just, the book goes on, and it's like in the beginning she seems like a lovesick puppy. Like, it's just like she's desperate. She's desperate for a companion, and think about like puppy love type thing, but she's like 30. And so she's just like, when you start a new relationship, or everything is magical, everything is this, everything is that. So she's sending text messages, and he's not responding. And it was like she would get upset. And the commentary that was going on in my mind, y'all, I was just like, girl, it is not that deep. And so, it continues on. Chapter 2, it says, our romance was flourishing. Excuse me. Our romance was flourishing. We had been together for 11 weeks, 2 days, and 6 hours. And yes, I was counting. What are we, 12? I don't want to say that. 16? Like, okay. So she's noticing different things. Like, she is like head over heels in love with this man. Like, first day, head over heels in love. And it was like, within, from the second chapter on, like, she was saying how, like, she would drop everything to be with him if he were to text or whatever the case may be. But she started noticing different things that it will be hours before he texts back, or he could only see her at night or on certain days at certain times. And she had mentioned it to him, and he snapped at her, like, called her out her name and everything. Like, I don't cuss, but you a silly bee, and you really are dumb, and I mean really derogatory things. And so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna take this in stride. So basically it's just a lot of back and forth about what's going on. And she it was one day she got a phone call, and I want to say she got a phone call, and it was a woman saying that she was his wife. And she was like, time out. I thought you said you weren't married. And when they met in the pub, she had made a joke about him being married, and he was just like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And so she was like, so are you married? And he was like, no, I'm not married. He was married, had a whole child. I think she was 4 at the time. That's what she found out. So, and she found that out. I'm sorry, not a phone call. She found that out where I want to say he had gotten a phone call, and he bought her this house and all this kind of stuff. And he said, I'll be right back. And I want to say this was their anniversary. And she was like, okay, where are you going? He was like, it's a surprise. So he leaves. Something is telling her to follow him, because she had just had these inklings that something was going on. So she follows him to this whole other house, huge mansion. And early on, he said that, his brother was going through a divorce. His brother and his kids were staying at his house. So she was just like, okay. And so she follows him. He goes inside. She rings the doorbell, and this woman answers, and she said, Ingrid said, I'm looking for the husband, or I'm looking, I forgot what she said, but in all things, he is standing in the background, and when he sees her, he's like, close the door immediately. And the woman just closes the door. So she goes home, and she's like hysterical. He comes in the house furious because he has a key to the house. He comes into the house furious. Don't you dare come to my house and try to talk to my wife and something about my kid. And she was like, so you're married, huh? Okay. So it was like bits and pieces where she was strong, she was courageous, she was bold. I'm not going to take no nonsense, foolishness type stuff. And then it was like, if he said he's leaving, oh, no, please don't leave. Please don't leave. I love you. I need you. Man, the commentary, y'all. So it keeps going back and forth. He was indeed married. He tells Ingrid, his name is Humphrey. He tells Ingrid that, I told my wife I don't want to be with her. I'm not happy. I'm leaving her, and that I'm with you. And so she was just like, okay, well, I don't want to be the other woman. I didn't mess up your house. You did. You came and approached me in the pub. You talked to me. So the story goes on, and it's like he's slowly twisting things. He called her a home wrecker, and she was just like, you said you were leaving her. Like, what? It was a whole bunch of back and forth, y'all. It was so much back and forth. She was telling it from her perspective, but it was just like on some days she's good, she's happy, and then the next thing he's slapping her around. Like, as soon as he hits her, it's like he snaps out of it and is like, baby, I'm sorry, I won't ever do it again. And I'm just like, okay. And she said in the book that she knows she needs to leave him, he's no good, but she loves him and she can't bring herself to do it. She can't bring herself to leave in spite of. So she distances herself from her family and friends. I think she's the only child, but she stopped speaking to her parents, all this good jazz. And so she's alienated herself. And so the wife, he came and said that the wife knows about her, and that his daughter doesn't like her. Okay. So then he came and said that the wife made a list of demands, because they do have a child, that he installs a landline phone in a house, and that they can call whenever they want. And she was like, this is my house. Like, what? And so wife calls and says he's not leaving you. He's my husband. I do this. I know about you, but I have his daughter. I'm not leaving. So you either gonna get used to this, being the third wheel, or you're just gonna leave him alone. I suggest you leave him alone because I'm not going anywhere. Bold stuff, right? Bold. And so the book continues on. And then I'm not going to tell all of it, but it's a moment where she snaps. Ingrid snaps. And by this time, it's been like 2 going on 3 years now. Years, y'all. I know that this is a book, excuse me, but there are so many situations and circumstances out there where this is happening now. And it just breaks my heart because it's like you have some who are strong enough to say, hey, I know that this is not healthy. This isn't right. I need to get out of it, but I can't bring myself to leave him. Or he may kill me. Or she may kill me. And so I just want to encourage them to just, if you feel as though your life is worth living, if you don't think about your family who loves you, things of that nature, think about that and get out. Like, just get out. Because, I mean, it literally took, I don't want to say it took for her to snap, but like, it wasn't until she snapped where she was just like, I'm done. And there were times in the book, like, she would get so fed up that she would start hitting him, like just beating the mess out of him. And I'm like, yes, he shouldn't have hit you in the first place. And so, not condoning or saying that it's right for a woman to hit a man first, or just hit him. Nobody should be hitting nobody. But in all things, in the end, she was not the only one that he was with, and that he had been doing this for years. And she just so happened to be, not to say a pawn, but she just happened to be one of them. So, I mean, in all things, this was a good book. I believe that this is her first book. This is Dawn's first book. And, I like that in this book, I'm looking at it, she talks about the triggers, and she says, with gaslighting, she says, with every breath tells the gripping and heart-wrenching story of a young woman who unknowingly falls in love with a married man. And then she goes on to say, just how the dynamics of their relationship is. It goes from loving and charismatic to horrible. And she has, like, the definition of gaslighting in here. And then, like, she goes on to say, this is what gaslighting is. These are the statistics. If you need to seek help, then seek help. And and just basically that you are not alone. And so I thought that that was really cool for that to be like legit the second page in the book. I believe that she is working, Dawn is working on more books. I don't know, but this book, like I said, she's an indie writer, excuse me. And so I thought that it was good. It was just a lot for me because I've never, thank goodness, not been in that situation with domestic violence or anything of that nature. But my heart just goes out like all throughout the book. I just wanted not to shake her, but just be like, and she has friends. She has friends. She has girlfriends, and they're just like, okay, are you okay? As long as you're happy, boo, boo, boo. I'm that friend where it's just like, okay, listen, I love you. You know that I love you, but you know that I'm going to be real with you. Take this how you take it, but I promise you I'm coming from a good place. You need to go and get out. I don't want anything to happen to you. I don't want you to die. I just get out. If you need a place to stay, my place is your place. I don't have much for right now, but my place is your place. You have options. Get out. I love you. Your life is worth living. And she didn't have that. Well, I feel like she had it, but she didn't utilize it. She was so blinded by, oh, I'm in love, and being thrown against the wall or being thrown on the floor or, having your hair pulled or something like that. It was heavy, but it was good. Would I read another of her book? Yes. I would. If it's domestic violence, I can't. But this was a really good book. So the book that I read, With Every Breath by Dawn Jones, go check it out. It's available on the Zon, Amazon, of course. So yeah, let me know what you think about that one. That one was I'm not accustomed to reading domestic violence. I'm all about like thrillers and just mystery and who did it, why they did it, all of that. But she reached out to me. Dawn reached out to me and was like, would you give a review of my book? I was like, yes, girl, I sure will. So, yeah, let me know what you think. But in all things, this is Felicia with The Book Is Done, and I'm out. Y'all have a good day.